So I've been developing this game for about 3 weeks now. Settled for the name Peasant's Nightfall. It was originally going to be called Starve Again or Starve, something like that. It had some copyright issues, so we settled for Peasants and Peons. And then partner said, "What's a peon?" Like, well, it's like a slave, isn't it? It's like a medieval slave. She's like, no, I don't know. So, all right, fair enough. What would you suggest? So she goes, Peasant's Nightfall. I said, all right, let's go with that. It's good. It's good. And it ties in directly to the game itself. It's highly driven around nighttime. Everything sort of becomes a lot more dangerous and nasty at night. So that's it. So originally started off as the idea for Starve.io or Don't Starve. Both games are like crafting, survival, sandbox style. So I wanted to go with that. I wanted to stay true to the sort of top-down style, but I wanted it 3D. Like, there's no camera movement on any of those, and none of it's 3D, it's all 2D sprites, so I thought, well, why not just go with that? And yeah, Unity's done a pretty good job of capturing that old school style. So this is one of the only two mobs that are in the game at the minute, the wolves, and they will turn away if you get far enough away, but I'm just sort of collecting a few because you need meat right at the beginning. You don't have meat, then you've got to go hard farming, and if you don't find enough seeds or what have you, then that's not possible. A couple of wolves at the beginning is nice and useful. So there's going to be a bit of a radius, restriction for how far away you can build from your player. Eventually, when I get round to building it, but for now because it's early and I'm testing, that's not there. And even if it was there, I'd probably have it turned off for testing purposes. So there's no god mode or anything on this one. I've gone full. I've put all of the stats back to normal. Character's got 100 health, and nighttime and temperatures and all that drain properly. It's just me doing a full test run to see sort of how far I can get before I ever get bored or get killed. Fortunately, I don't die, but then that's kind of the point. I am the dev. I know how not to. I suspect most people that start playing the game because they don't know what everything does and where it all goes and what to do with it. It's very likely that you will succumb to something. It's that little whoosh there, that whoosh noise, that's the trigger for night. That's how you know it's now night time. You notice the wolves are faster and they track me from a lot further away. That's going to be true of all players on at once. So I don't know if I mentioned that this is fully multiplayer. Although there's no other players in the world right now because I'm just testing it, I've run test passes on multiple clients at once and it all works. It's incredible. Unity's doing a really good job with Photon Fusion for this. Well, I say Unity, I mean I've built it by hand from scratch. The only things that you'll see in here that aren't me are the Cinti assets, which is the character trees, some of the models of the building models are most of them primitive cubes, but a lot of the shapes and things come from the Cinti asset packs, which are, I mean, they're fully licensed to me. They're all, what's the word? They have continuity across the entire asset packs. So I chose to go with them because there's a lot of different types that I could choose from, and no matter what I put into the game, it always will look like it's come from the same people. So that was an art choice that I went with. All the sprites are hand drawn in Microsoft Paint.net. Well, I say Microsoft Paint.net. It's not all done in Paint, but that's where I'm converting and reshaping and formatting and transparent and everything. The rest of it's done on the iPad. But that's why they look rubbish, because I'm not very good at making sprites or shading or anything like that. I'm not an artist. I'm a coder at heart. So, but you can see the chests work. The farming is working. I don't know if that bright green is too much, because it does show from all the way across the map. It's just a proximity gate. I just need to put a guard in and proximity gate it, and then the whole thing will only show when you're close enough to actually do something. So that's not a problem, but that's what it will look like. So again, it's just a gate that needs to be put in. So yeah, I've done all of the crafting benches and tables and all of that. So you have to progress through the tiers in order to get the highest level equipment. You can't really cheese it. You've got to progress by collecting the resources and then going through them piece by piece. Tonight I'm going to do a farming and cooking pass. I've got a list of recipes and items that I need to put in. Most of it is now, thankfully, graphical objects, because I've done all the modular work in the background. So adding new items and adding new crafting stations doesn't come with a new mechanics cost, any methods or scripts. Thankfully, it's now completely modular, so I can simply add what I want. That's the stage that I wanted to be at before I started really talking about it. Because now if people ask, they say, oh, can we have this, or can you add that, or why doesn't this do that? It's very simple to go in and make that change. Whereas when you're in the middle of programming, like the mechanics and the movement and camera and AI awareness and things like that, you don't really have the time to go ahead and add loads of items. Like for the longest time I had just an axe. That was about the only item that was in the game. The rest are like equipping it. Crikey, that took a while. It took a couple of days to get that bit right. But again, now it's modular. So if I want to add a new weapon or a new shield or a helmet or something, I give it some stats in the scriptable object definition, and then add the prefab, place it on the character, remove the colliders, turn it off, and set in the array what mesh I want to turn on, and that is a new piece of equipment done. Same for building blocks and that. I have some modular pieces which are blank and empty. So like this tilled piece of soil that I'm sort of clicking to place down, that does damage to the tilling tool, and then once the tilling tool's gone, you can no longer place it. But it's exactly the same premise as adding another crafting station. It's just a networked prefab with its transform networked, and then you just add the scriptable objects, turn it into a crafting recipe, allow the player to see it, give the hotbar the option to use. And then the only thing I haven't done recently is I haven't done a droppable object pass. I've got about 80 items in the game that all need to have their prefabs reduced in size and turned into droppables, so that if you grab them off the hotbar and then let go, they drop to the floor. Because as you can see, you've only got 10 inventory slots, so inventory management is also another hard part of the game, along with making sure that you keep your full stat bars up. There's actually a fifth, it's hidden, it's oxygen. It only appears if you go underwater, which is in the deep water, but that is, I mean, it's put there for later on. Later on, there's going to be ocean to cross, whereas right now it's just the forest biome. I plan to have 4 biomes total: forest, ocean, desert, and snow, or desert and ice, or arid and ice. I'm not sure how you would figure that out, but I'm gonna, yeah, the snow biome's gonna have the next tier of upgrading materials. Currently you've got wood, stone, leather, and metal. Metal comes from ore, and it's not like copper ore or tin ore, it's just ore, and the ore becomes just metal. I'm not bothering with all of the standard different stages that go into the AAA games and that. It's a smaller scope. So one of the main things to do is to build a dwelling. You see how I've just placed down some floor tiles. Once you've got yourself a few different types of workbenches, it unlocks all the recipes for all the different parts. So a full dwelling obviously consists of a flooring. Here's another nighttime pass. Consists of a full flooring, which is anything that is larger than 3x3. So starting at 3x3, you can have 9 tiles in a square, and that's the smallest dwelling that you can have. You could build a 1x1 and go hide in it, but you wouldn't get any benefit to that. If you build a full dwelling with door, roofing, a fireplace inside, and walls all the way around it, the game knows and tells you, okay, you've completed a dwelling. And then if you go inside it, you get a buff, and that buff stops your hunger and water, thirst draining. And obviously it doesn't need to do the temperature, because the fireplace is what holds the information for the completed dwelling, and it also gives a warmth radius, so you don't need to have a buffer on the temperature. But again, that's the main point of it. Once you've got your dwelling up and running, and you can produce enough food to go exploring, then the next stage is to do metal and smeltery and get enough leather and bone and hide together to create the better armors. And then once all of that has been done, it'll be time to move into the snow biome. But currently it's more than an hour of consistent play to get to that stage, which I think is just about right for your average player. Once they've died a couple of times and then they really get into it, it's like, okay, about an hour's gone by and I'm feeling pretty powerful now. I've got metal weaponry, I've got leather armor, can withstand the cold, I've got plenty of food, I can take a lot of damage. What's next? So they would naturally then go and explore the snow biome, which is far more dangerous and requires preparation. But currently that's not in. I do intend to have a method, so there's going to be a lot of different farming recipes, and 1 or 2 of those combined might, I'm not saying it will, but it might give you the edge to go into the snow biome early and collect something from there, which would help you get back to it faster, if that makes sense. So not really like cheesing the snow biome. You wouldn't be able to go live in there with these food items, but if you have enough of them to go and get the higher tier resource that's going to be hidden up there, that may be viable. It's going to be very interesting to build, actually actively thinking, like, what can I build that will allow a player to cheese his way into a later stage of the game. With it being a sandbox open sort of PvP game, I expect people to figure that out. So yeah, that's my next target after the food and farming pass. Obviously, you only see me planting carrots here, but there's wheat seeds, banana seeds, and there's going to be 5 others plus two pickable objects off the ground that are going to grow. Instead of picking up seed bags that are scattered, you'll be able to pick up the bits that grow around. It's going to be herbs and mushrooms as well. So lots of different recipes, lots of cooking options. You don't just have to live on carrot stew, carrot juice, or meat. So I do intend on putting a lot of different armours in as well. Different armours, different weaponry. There's a few now. Stone, bone and metal are weaponry and tools. And you've got like hide armour, leather armour, a cloak, and then there's the dev armour, which it is unlockable through normal gameplay means, but you have to have an excessive amount of material. It's not stupidly high, it's not like thousands of leather, but it is like hundreds of metals and a good 50 leather, which is, I think, 100. 50 leather is 100 hide and 50 bones, which means that you have to have killed around 60 wolves or more and not used any of it. So late game armor is the dev armor, and if you're wearing that, you're essentially you run around for free. Like the temperature doesn't hurt you, you don't get hurt anymore. But that won't be in the game when it's fully released. Like that won't stay. I'll obviously take that out. Click of a button and it's gone. But for me, while I'm testing, it's very useful to have. I just noticed that my camera there actually blocks some of the user interface. So up in that right corner, there's a little icon that shows you when you're wearing armor and what armor it is. And it also shows the durability left, because every object has durability. Every item is destroyable or destructible. Some are friendly fire off, like the crafting bench and the fireplaces. You can't destroy them. You can destroy the crafting bench, but it's quite resistant to like punches. I did it like that because you can sometimes when you're crafting, you got like your mouse pad or something. You can spam click, and sometimes the click is not consumed, or the raycast is detected underneath, and then you perform an attack. So you do actually damage your buildings around you. So like crafting in the house is not perfectly viable at the minute. I've tried to put a bunch of guards in to stop raycast when you're with an open menu and you're actively clicking craft or one of the buttons. It's supposed to consume the clicks, and it's supposed to consume all of them, but if you really spam it, some get through still, so I'll have to but the problem is I can't disable attacking while the menu's open, because you may want to be running and then quickly open the menu, click craft, and your fingers on the buttons don't need to move, so you can quite skillfully craft something, place it and run around, especially if you're getting like really close to that bottom part of your health and there's 3 wolves still on you. You might need to craft 2 crafting benches or something, shove them down right behind them, and then run around. So it's the best of 2 evils. Just don't spam the button until your computer breaks, and you won't smash your building around you. But then again, the resistances on the building parts are very high for fists and piercing weapons, so you won't be smashing your building down just because of natural crafting. But if you do a lot of crafting and you don't watch what you're doing, as you see there, like that was one hit, the health bars popped up, they barely moved, but 50 hits later, and you will start to see, like, okay, there is some damage coming in here. And in case you're wondering, yes, there are ways to destroy buildings quickly. There's weaponry that really damages buildings. They're maces, they're blunt style weapons. So you've got 3 different damage types currently: piercing, blunt, and physical. And I'm unsure if I'm going to put more in. I may not. The only thing I could think of there being would be like, I can't even think if blunt damage for like heavy hitting objects, piercing for the weapons and the slashing weapons and the spears, and then physical for like the axes and the pickaxes and your fists. I can't think of any others that would need to be in there. I could do like a ranged multiplier if I was to put in range. Like I've been toying with the idea of having ranged weaponry because you can build up. I've allowed building to go up to 2 stories high rather than just a flat building plane. I've decided that players should be able to get creative and enjoy the build as well. You don't necessarily have to go around and destroy everything. And there's going to be deterrence later on. It's not just going to be a complete troll fest where players come in and just absolutely annihilate everyone purely because they got the best weaponry and the best food and the best armor. It's still going to be balanced to the point where a top tier player can be ended by a brand new player with his fists if he's not paying attention, if he's not careful. But as you see, this is the building system here. It all snaps to each other. Well, certain pieces snap, other pieces don't. You'll have to wait another 5 minutes for me to go gather more resources and then come back and build the rest of the building. But it does happen in this video. I do complete the dwelling. Love the way the shadows work. Which, believe it or not, is just one directional light. So all the shadows and everything that's on there are cast in real time, which for a game this size is not really a problem. But yeah, you may not have seen like real-time lighting doing this in too many games because it's usually quite heavy. But I just turn the shadows right down. You can only see them when you're zoomed in at level 1 and 2 as well. Any further. In fact, you can see the building and the fences at the back. They're starting to fade away from the camera, and then right in the distance, there's no shadows. There you go. I'll turn the camera, no shadows, and then come back. This is what I mean by spamming. So when you're doing bricks, you may want to spam the button quite a bit to get like 50 quickly. But you've got to be careful you don't smash your buildings up behind it because it can be consumed. I didn't want to build that. See it on my face. I wanted to build the fireplace, but it's alright because I go out and get more bits anyway. This is where I go out and get loads of resources. It's not long turn today, and I'm like, right, I need inventory space and I need time. I've got a bit of time, just make a bit of inventory space here. So I think I got the settings just about right. It's not too difficult to get started, but then again it's not too overpowered when you've got all the decent equipment of the best bits. Yeah, this is it. So that's what I mean by placing too far away. You see how it's still green. I need to put a guard, disable the placement for anything further away than about 3-4 feet, I think. About here to that tree's far enough. Any further than that, and there's some real cheesing can happen with like. I mean, I imagine if you're running away in PvP, you can just surround someone with spiky walls very, very quickly. And then they've got to get their mace out and destroy it all before you get back. And then if I did add ranged combat, that would be a way that you would get cheesed because they'd just bow you down. So lots to think about, lots of balance to ensure that I get right. Otherwise, it's just a shit fest, isn't it? Really. But currently, I'm very, very happy with how smooth it runs and for how long as well. Fingers crossed and touch wood, I think I've reduced crashing to a minimum. At least single player crashing is at a minimum. It barely happens now, and if it does, it's usually buried deep within the Unity editor, not on builds. So if I start adding too much like extra mechanics and things like that, then obviously I need to do a bunch of debug passes and ensure that I thoroughly test. But yeah, this is really coming along now. It's starting to look like a full game loop. Building, farming, foraging, exploration, hunting, surviving. It's a full loop there. Obviously this video doesn't show dying mechanics, but if you do die, your player drops to the floor, gruesome little animation, you died prompt comes up, screen goes a bit dark, and then when you respawn, the camera very, very quickly jumps from where you died to where you spawn, so you get a brief glimpse of the direction that you died on. So you can go and recover your loot bag if you can get there within 60 seconds, which if it's the other side of the map you can't, but that's intended. It's intended that if someone kills you, they get to get your loot bag, not you. That's the point of it. And here we are, some advanced crafting coming on now. Get the shovel out, get some clay, build some bricks, mix clay, bricks, stone and wood, and you can finish your building. What I never got as far as doing was showing off metal in this video, but it's there. It's there. You've got metal braziers, metal sword, metal chest plate, cuirass, shield, helmet, wall torches, barrels, some decorative items, a few other bits, and obviously the metal tools for farming, wood collecting, stone gathering, clay. So you can really rack up. You can end up with like 10,000 stone, wood and clay and metal, and then you don't really need to worry about resources after that. It's more a case of going out and exploring, which is when new biomes and higher tiers of crafting will need to come in. But until then, really I need players. I need people to join the game, join the community, join the Discord, talk about it, enjoy it, be a part of it, test it. Like really, when there's like 10 players on a map at once, that's going to be a real example of what problems may arise from multiplayer, because right now it's very, very difficult for me on my own to discern what might arise. I can only test on 3 clients at once, And even then, I can only be on one mouse at one time because I've only got one set of hands. So that's the difficulty with being a solo dev with no community and no... there you go. That's how you complete the dwelling. There it is, finished. And you can get really stylish if you want. There's, you know, slanted roofs and gables and stone casings and stairs and pathways and all that. I've added a bunch of decoratives to, you know, make a house a home sort of thing. So people aren't like just all living in the same square looking box. I imagine lots of people probably will. But yeah, I do need to add one more mechanic, and that is a repair tool. I think it'll be something as simple as a weapon that you equip, and then whatever you hit, it will repair, and we'll do it as like a, not a per piece durability drop, but a per swing. So if you hit something that can be repaired, then you will lose one durability tick for that swing. That way you can repair like multiple walls or entire sections of your building on one tool, rather than swinging it once and breaking because you repaired 15 walls one tick. That just doesn't seem right, so I'll do it as a single swing pass. I don't know what to make it out of though. What do I make it out of? Stone and wood for stone and wood, and then metal for metal? Probably just keep it to the tiers. You build a stone, wood, bone, leather, metal, leather, that sort of thing. That should work out quite well. Yeah, you can see here it's got a bit of character. Just a little bit more unique. A couple of pillars out the front, clearly showing where the door is. Put some blocks on the ends of the walls. So this would also stop a player getting in as well. Well, it wouldn't, because they'd just walk around that bit. But you know, you could completely enclose your little camp with wall pieces. And then, in order for a player to get in, they would have to smash that down, which you'd obviously hear. But you'd see it anyway. It's not like when you go in the building you can't look out. I've made it so that the walls disappear when you're inside, so that you can see out. But that doesn't happen for anyone else. All the other clients see is what you can see right now. The walls don't disappear for them at all, unless they're also inside. Which is another thing that was really hard to test, because I had to use two different clients and the editor at the same time to go and run the tests properly. That was a nightmare. But yeah, this is it. Peasant's Nightfall. So, links will be in the description. It's on itch.io right now. This build is on itch.io right now. Enjoy.